Everyone we see is a reflection of us.
It's been a while since I put something out, but as the day approaches of more enlightenment, I suppose, or the raising of consciousness, the removing of the old, something interesting comes to my mind. Now, gladly I want to be a healer. I want to be in the environment. I want to be in nature. I want to be able to harness the power and the ability to help heal others, either through my hands or my voice or whatever it may be. I've always wanted to heal things, especially of late, but something comes to mind when you think healing. Now, I believe everyone deserves the right to be healed. I believe if someone is in pain, they should be healed. If someone is suffering, it should be healed. You see, I saw a little video the other day of a poor feline friend who had brain or nerve damage, and it sickened me to watch. I couldn't watch it because the amount of pain that the poor animal and creature was going through was horrendous. Even if you keep it alive, it was just painful to watch. Even though the person was doing the right thing, it's hard to see because I am so connected. Sometimes the humane thing to do is to release it from its, you'd say, burden or pain or suffering. You see, that's an animal who doesn't have the capabilities, but from the video you could clearly see that it wasn't having a good time, and it was heartfelt to watch. So it got me to thinking, let's say you have the ability to heal. Let's say anyone who comes to you with a broken leg or a mental disorder or a problem, they can be healed. What if someone who is sick, who needs to go on holiday the next day, they want to be healed so that they can have a good time? What if someone has a broken leg and wants to play sport, who needs to be healed? Are these reasons for healing someone? Is this notion for healing for payment? Would that incite someone to go out and do reckless things because they know they can just pay someone to get healed or to go to a healer? I think it's called The Island, with another spoiler alert, where the rich and famous basically created doubles of themselves so that if they ever got injured or sick, they can just harvest the body and, live a longer life. So how do you evolve to a point where one is healed? But how do you know that that person deserves healing? How do you gauge who deserves healing? Or has that person gone through their life journey? Will it matter? If we go into a new world or a higher light, will it matter what the person's gone through? If someone is suffering mentally or got injured or has a snake bite or whatever it might be, because everyone is positive light, you can heal them. And they know there's a healer that can heal them. Is that what it's going to be? I think it's an interesting thing because if you think in the 3D terminology or the 3D way of thinking, there will always be those situations people will try to take advantage of you or just pay you to heal them regardless. So they might drink or smoke and then get ill or sick and then go to a healer. Well, is that just a negative way of thinking? Is that just a closed mind way of thinking that we're trying to get rid of? Because as we evolve and as we move into higher ways of life, this won't occur. It's for those people who have evolved or have moved forward that a healer is needed in case things go wrong. What if a plant is sick or an animal friend got injured? You can heal the land, you can heal the plant life. What if somewhere needs water desperately? You can heal the land by providing water. Possible. Why not? It's interesting to know where your mind energy now will go, because do you stay in the 3D world? Let's stay in the 3D world for the time being. How do you heal someone? How do you know? Do you gauge them? Do you have a questionnaire that they must fill out? Or as an empath, or do you just understand or know or feel the person, connect with their higher beings to know that this person is worthy of healing? Is that what is required? Is that the step up, the transition? So if someone comes in and requires healing and they are not accepted for they have not learned their life lessons, then is it the universe that is not healing them? Does that harbor aggression? Does that harbor them to retaliate? Well, I believe it could. But I suppose it's all based around the delivery and how well is that person receiving the information. If you tell them that they must go away and search inwardly and understand why they are ill, I suppose we all have a responsibility that everyone has their life lessons that they need to learn. Everyone has their situations they need to learn. They knew when before they came on this earth as a soul being that they would encounter those very difficulties. So is it a healer's responsibility to allow them to be released from that burden? Would you do it? What if the person in a 3D world was a very dark and sinister person? Would it be your responsibility to heal them? Well, this has been quite an interesting debate for doctors. You know, do you heal someone who may have done some really bad things to people? And people say, let him go, you know. But what if that person had information that you needed to get? I think people jump so far to conclusions in terms of revenge that they forget to see the bigger picture, and that person may be required to have information or knowledge that might help assist down the track. It's all the way one perceives the idea. But again, it poses a potential thing. Do you heal someone who is potentially bad? And then if you heal them and they get better and they do the same thing, are you at fault? Is it your fault or is it them because they chose to do something so bad, but you healed them so they were able to do it? Well, I suppose then that comes down to the justice system. You know, can you heal them, but yet they never get released, I suppose? The connection to spirit and to the soul family and to all of these areas that play a key role, I think, in understanding who can and who should be healed, or when they should be healed, plays a big factor. I think the human element in understanding and compassion for one another plays a massive role. In the current 3D society, they are removing the empathy, the human aspect of everything. They want to automate everything. So you lose that compassion. You lose that human ability to gauge and sense what is right and wrong. It's like RoboCop, for those who can remember or have seen it. You can't understand the value of compassion unless you witness it, unless you feel it. So the senses will play a big role. But that's in a 3D way of thinking. It's in a current environment for those people who may need to hear it. So what happens if the world transitions to a 5D reality, to a new world or a new way of living, a new way of thinking and believing? What is the role of a healer then? Can someone heal by Reiki? Yeah, of course. Does it change and be sound therapy and healing? Is the role of a healer to take those people from the 3D reality who are now in 5D, who are still suffering from pain or disease, but they've made it to the 5D world, and is it their responsibility who is able to heal them to live in the new dimension? Is that the role of the healer? All our animal friends that may be hurt and injured, the plant life, the soil, the minerals, everything can be healed. Is that the job of the healer? I think, in my opinion, I think it is. For you see, it doesn't then concern yourself with such negative ways of thinking, but more positive outcomes. Excuse me. The transition that we take between one world and another, the journey that we take is important. If we are in a position where a healer can heal us in the new 5th dimension or the new reality or whatever it may be, then we deserve it. I think to understand the role of a healer, one must remember that we are no longer in the matrix. We are no longer needing to think in such a negative way of life. No more what ifs or situational thinking. No more harmfulness, just pure bliss, joy, and love. So I don't think we will have to worry very much about who deserves to be healing in the new world, because everyone will be healed. And I think the understanding and the feeling of being healed itself is amazing. Can you imagine your pains, your aches that you've gone through? I know I've suffered my fair share, and I still am currently with what I'm having to do. Can you imagine waking up one day or after a session and it's gone? There's no more suffering, no more pain. It doesn't mean you continuously live forever in the human form, but the areas of your life that was creating so much of a problem is gone. Or the friends that you have that may have had problems from the 3D world internally with organs or diseases are gone. Just the thought alone. is empowering. The feeling of overwhelming bliss and thankfulness. The joy, the wonder, and the happiness that we face is in itself a marvel to think about. Can you feel that? Can you place your thoughts upon the areas that are hurting the most? It can be emotionally, it doesn't have to be physical. And be healed from that and filled with love and light. Not in a fairy, unicorn kind of way, but they're here as well. But in a pure, unconditional way where it's just overwhelming in positivity. So I think answering my own question is powerful. But it's not just a healer that has these questions, it's the same thing. It doesn't matter whether you're a healer or a light worker or the ground crew or a grid worker or anyone along those sort of lines. Whatever your path or your job or your technique or your skill or your passion is moving in, you'll never have to worry about the dark side. Well, there'll always be yin and yang, but the idea of you won't have to worry about the control, the manipulation, that overwhelming, because it won't be there. That's the whole understanding, the whole idea of changing the way you think, because it's not about having multiple ways to get there, it's about removing the darkness in thought. When you remove that darker side in thought, it ceases to exist. That's the trick. That's what they've played upon you. People always want to second guess the idea of saying, but what if this happens? What if this person comes in? Who about that? That is evil. That is darkness. That is ego. Not in a sadistic way or a ritualistic way, but a way of keeping the brain balanced to a 3D reality. So it's this way of thought, it's this way of thinking that is gone. For then if you need to heal someone, you will know. You'll just know. You'll have that connection. You'll have that understanding and the knowing that this person needs to be healed. And you lovingly give that person. Whether the new world will have money or not, I don't know. Whether the new way will generate positivity through wealth, through psychic abilities and gifts granted upon me from the higher realms. I hope so. I hope that one day people can come to me and be healed. And I have that ability and that power to do so. I wonder what goes through your mind. Do you want to be a healer? Are you a healer? Do you know? So with that, peace and love and light, take care.